Yo, welcome back to the channel. Truck's running great, so we're gonna get the engine bay wrapped up today. Clean up the wiring, make it look real nice. Got inner fenders, outer fenders painted, ready to go. And then we might get the hood on, and then we're one step closer to getting the truck painted. Let's check it out. When I installed the engine, I got some of the wiring done and loomed and looking good, but some of this stuff I just kind of threw together. Like, I don't like how this one just dive bombs down. That's just the stuff for the alternator here. So I think I'm gonna try and get that routed and then hop over down here somewhere. So we need to add some length to that. And then we need to get our gauge wires sorted. We got our water temperature gauge here, and then the oil pressure wire, and then get it loomed up real nice. And then we need to address this headlight wiring. It's not too bad, but we can make it look better. Some of this wiring coming out of the cab, this is for the power windows that get direct power from the battery. Guess I'll start with our alternator harness here. Got all that old loom off of there. Now, I'm gonna just try and tuck it where I want it to be. Something like that. And then jump over behind the valve cover here so you barely even see it. And that's where they end. And we need to be up here at the alternator. So I'm gonna grab a measurement right here. So it looks like about a foot. So we'll do 16 inches, plenty of slack to do whatever we want with it. I think I'm gonna add those 16 inches right here. I'll cut these butt connectors out, and then just to minimize the amount of butt connections we have. Got our extensions on there. Now we'll get it loomed up. Looks good. Now I'm gonna clean all this up here. I have random zip ties and the wires are overlapping, but I have these nice fancy zip ties that have a push pin Christmas tree on them. I'm gonna put these every so often so it's nice and secure and looks good, and get all these wires together. Looking good, got it cleaned up, all the zip ties are trimmed, everything's tucked away. I also zip tied this vacuum line to run the trail too. Now the distributor power wire is just kind of jumping down, but I don't think I'm gonna try and mess with that at all. I think it's pretty good. Next thing to do is this choke wire. Needs to kind of follow this same path, but it's only one single wire. It's actually damaged in a few places, and I'm sure under this tape it's just two wires twisted together, like the common theme on this truck. That choke wire goes to this plug here, and it plugs in back there by the distributor to this oil pressure switch. And I noticed when I took the plug off, this thing was coated with oil on the top. I think this switch is actually leaking. I think that was part of our oil leak last week, because there was a bunch at the back of the engine there. There's that plug, and then the one going to the firewall is loomed, looking good. Then the other wire that goes out to the choke, all heat shrinked. Now before I route this, I want to be able to plug this in to my new sensor before I zip tie it and get it where I want it for sure. So I'm going to wait to do that. Now real quick, I'm going to get this oil pressure sensor wire, just a single wire, loomed and routed. And same thing with the water temperature, wherever that thing went. Well, never mind. I'm gonna run out now quick. I'm out of these female flat connectors, so I'm gonna have to get some more of these. I'm not using this one because I want to put some heat shrink on here to seal it up real good. I'll be back. Back with the new sensor. I'm gonna install it real quick, and then we'll get the wiring for that wired nicely behind and then up to the choke. Good deal. New sensor installed. I got the choke wiring tucked away nicely, and I got the water temp and the oil pressure light in place, and they run together, and then they come down right here. And then I figured the best spot for the water temp was just the frame rail, because I didn't want it up on the valve cover or anything. So that should work pretty good. So that is it for the main wiring, and it looks pretty clean, a lot better than it did at least. So rather than try and mess with the headlight wiring now, I'm gonna get the inner fenders, well, the inner and outer fenders on, and then we can mess with it from there. See where we want to mount it and everything like that. Threw this side on just to refresh myself real quick. Looking good. Let's not soak it in too much. Bring it all together. Inner fender goes on first. 3 bolts in the front, 2 in the back, and I don't tighten them all the way. I just leave them loose till everything is together, and then I snug everything down. Just like that, all the bolts are in, but it's still loose. Now we'll get the outer fender in place. Got one started there. Now for the 3 bigger bolts in the back, one here, there's one right here, and then one underneath. We got shims to put underneath. I did take pictures of all this, luckily. Figure out which ones go where. So there's the shims. I got them all in. Got that one tight, and I did the bottom one first. Check the panel gap. Looks pretty good. Body line lines up, and no issues opening the door. All right, all the bolts are started. Got 4 up front here, and then there's like 7 in the fender well. So we'll get everything tightened up, and we should be good. Oh man. That's looking pretty good. Obviously, we still got some wiring to clean up. We'll get to that. Let's get the battery in here. We'll mount this expansion tank where it's supposed to be. right there, I think. Got that in. Gonna hold off for a minute because there's some shoddy wiring here at the headlights. Again, wires twisted together. Same thing over here under that tape. Almost can guarantee you, just wires tied together. Start routing this stuff, figure out where it goes. Woo-wee. Got everything in place, zip tied, looking good. Everything had a home. All these wires set up nicely. Yes, that's a black positive and a red negative, whatever. I didn't mess with the headlight harness too much besides the shoddy wiring I fixed. Not too bad. Really happy with how it looked. I actually went back and found a couple pictures before I started all this, and it is a huge difference. I'll put them up on the screen right now. A couple more things. I'm gonna throw on the air cleaner to kind of bring the room together, and then clean up this fan shroud and get it installed. That is it. Everything is done except for the hood being on. Looks sweet. Clean. Very nice. Make sure it still runs now that the battery's hooked up. Tap. There we go. Alright, hold fire, hold fire. She runs. Nice. Get the hood on. Well, I gotta paint the underside of the hood, but get that on. That should be about it. Unofficial first drive. I think we need some transmission fluid. Man, that back end's breaking loose. Ain't got no weight back there. Oh yeah. How's the idle? Sounds sweet. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Still gotta get the hood on, like I said. This is a good stopping point. I got a lot of work done today. It's all coming together. I'll be able to paint the thing here soon. That'll probably be the next video, maybe. I don't know. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about it. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.